Okay, we're going to start the daily audit for Deems tutorial. Now, for this, all I've done is gone into the Deems GL research tutorial, copied and pasted a lot of these things in here. So if you've watched that tutorial, then you're going to understand some of the setup and the raw data, so on and so forth. One thing I do need to mention though, for the Deems raw data, the way that I pull it for my GL, instead of doing a GL post date, I do fiscal year for my daily stuff. I just want to see the current fiscal year, so that I'm not getting clouded or whatever. It's just a little more simple. But for your daily audit, you don't want to limit it by a particular appropriation year. You want to get everything from 1 October through current, for all of your expired years and your current year. So make sure that when you query in Deems Discover Reviewer, that you use 1 October of the first day of the fiscal year post date, and then you're going to do your normal OEAAI, and your GLAC set will limit your query down quite a bit to keep the size manageable. So that's it on the query or anything different as far as the data is concerned. I'm going to open up this workbook, and all I did, like I said, I copied the GL research folder, or the workbook, and I just deleted a bunch of rows. So we want to talk about the data first, and that's why this is called initial setup, just so you understand the logic behind the daily audit. So I'm not trying to, even though we're trying to accomplish what the daily audit would be if you're looking at best practices or AFI or anything like that, the idea obviously is to look at the transactions that have happened each day, but also see it in the context of your overall program as the year unfolds, or as that program unfolds over the year, or if it's expired year stuff. That's where meaning comes from. We can all make comments to random transactions or something, but to be able to go and look at where they affected what, and so on and so forth as we do it, that's part of this too, and that's how I especially like it for Deems. And Deems helps us a little bit more than BQ or CRIS does. One thing that Deems has in this big old wide open GL query, there's a column called JE header ID and JE line number. Deems uses a batch process to put transactions into the system, and so what this is the batch number. Technically, I don't know if I'm saying that 100% right for the database managers for Deems or Oracle, but this is the batch number with which these transactions got rolled up into, and this is the line number inside of that batch. So this is a unique batch number, and this is the unique transaction inside of that batch. So what we have with these two things together, we have a unique identifier, which is very, very important. When we put these two things together, there's not going to be another transaction in our Deems general ledger that has that combination of characters. So we can use that when we're doing the daily audit. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put in here, let's just call it transaction number. You can retitle this whatever you want. It doesn't really matter to me. We just need to get it in our data. And so I'm going to hit equals. Remember that concatenate function? I'm going to show you the other way to concatenate things in Excel, but and again, you can see that this JE header ID is not unique. I've got the same thing right above it, but in that particular batch, these two transactions happen on a separate line, so we need to bring them together. The way that we do this without using concatenate is use the ampersand, or if I hit Shift and 7, that's the ampersand, and then I'll select this. So hit enter, and it brings these two things together. So now in my general ledger, I've got a unique identifier for every single line item transaction, which is really, really going to help us with our daily audit. As you can see, we still have the balance ID, which will be nice, and then the references where we're taking out those meaningless data that we really don't need to see that clouds the issue. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this video now. The next video, we're going to create the pivot table that will be looking up our things in our daily audit, and then we're going to create another table, a static table. We're going to put those transactions in the daily audit, make our comments where they're there, and we can prove that we did do it, but then we'll have the ability to research that program over time so that there's more meaning to what we're doing. See you in the next video.